Alright, let's talk about it. If you're here, chances are something inside you just feels off, maybe even a little scary. We're going to walk through what's happening and why it might actually be a sign of some incredible growth, not a sign that you're breaking down. You know that feeling, right? Like the ground isn't quite solid anymore. One minute you're totally fine, and the next you're hit with this huge wave of emotion or confusion that you can't even put into words. And that's the first thing we need to get straight. This is not just all in your head. The feelings, the questions, the turbulence, it is a completely real and often super intense experience. So let's try to make some sense of it. We're going to look at what could be going on from a few different angles, psychologically, neurologically, and even spiritually, to kind of create a map for this very new territory. You know, the most powerful thing you can do when you feel totally lost is to reframe the map. What if this whole story isn't about something breaking apart, but about something new trying to come through? So here's the term that might just click for you: spiritual emergence. Think of it like a massive system upgrade for your consciousness. Your entire operating system, who you think you are, what you believe, how you see everything, is going through this deep, fundamental rewrite. It's not a bug in the system, it's a whole new version trying to install. Of course, anyone who's ever updated their phone knows system upgrades can be messy. Things get chaotic, they require a full reboot. So let's look under the hood and see why this particular upgrade can feel so turbulent. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If this is supposed to be a good thing, a transformation, then why does it so often feel like you're caught in a storm with absolutely no control? Well, here's why. That person you always thought you were, that sense of self starts to fracture. Old identities, old habits, they suddenly feel hollow, like they don't fit anymore. At the same time, your nervous system is getting flooded with all this new information, new feelings, new perceptions. Your inner world is basically upgrading faster than your conscious mind can keep up. And that gap right there, that gap is the turbulence. And it's so important to get this. We're not just talking in metaphors here. There's a real biological process happening. Your brain is literally reorganizing itself. So get this, researchers looking at things like deep meditation found that the brain can enter this amazing state called near criticality. It's this perfect sweet spot right on the edge between rigid, predictable order and total chaos. And it's in that state that the brain becomes incredibly plastic and open to new connections. So what feels like chaos to you might actually be your brain creating new, more powerful pathways. And all that rewiring, it shows up in some pretty distinct ways. I mean, does any of this sound familiar? Suddenly being super sensitive to lights or sounds or other people's moods, wild emotional swings, feeling like you're watching your own life from a distance, or even questioning if any of it is real? These are not signs you're broken. They are classic signposts on the road of spiritual emergence. And what's really cool is that for thousands of years, cultures all over the world have had names and rituals for this exact process. They didn't see it as an illness, they saw it as an initiation. It's the necessary, symbolic death of the small, old self to make room for a bigger, more true self to be born. Okay, so this brings us to something really important, because when a process is this intense, it needs a strong container. The line between a life-changing awakening and a harmful breakdown can often come down to one thing: having support and staying grounded. So, how do you know which path you're on? You gotta look for the signs. If you're integrating, even in the middle of the chaos, you'll have these little flashes of clarity, these aha moments. You can still pretty much handle your day-to-day life. But if the experience is just all-consuming, 24/7, and you start to feel like you're losing touch with shared reality, or you're isolating yourself completely, those are red flags. That's when you know you need to find some grounding and maybe some professional support. And this is not some abstract idea. I mean, look at this. This is a real person on Reddit, and they just capture that fear so perfectly. The experience was powerful, but the after effects, that feeling of dissociation and the genuine fear of going crazy, that's real. They are so not alone. And then here's the other side of the coin, from another person. This is that voice of wisdom and caution. They're pointing out that without grounding, without real support, it's easy to get lost in an echo chamber. Real wisdom isn't about denying the risk. It's about learning how to navigate it with your eyes open. So what does navigating it actually look like? Well, it's about integration, not about trying to escape. Simple grounding practices, like walking barefoot on the grass, just feeling the earth, can pull you back into your body. Staying connected with people you trust keeps you tethered. And listen, Seeking support from a therapist or a guide, that doesn't make your journey any less spiritual. It actually makes you strong enough to see it through. And all of this brings us to the real heart of the matter. After all the chaos, the confusion, the trying to make sense of it all, what's the one thing you absolutely need to hold on to? Just let that sink in for a second. Everything we've looked at here points away from the idea that something is being broken or lost. This is the pivot. This is the big reframe. You're not fracturing into a million pieces, you are expanding to hold more. More awareness, more compassion, more of who you really are. You're just meeting the part of your mind that's more connected, more intuitive, and more whole than you ever imagined. So even on the days when it feels like you are just being dragged through the storm, try to remember that this process has its own intelligence. It has a purpose. It is carrying you somewhere more authentic, more real, and more powerful. This is a path that so many people have walked before, and so many are walking right alongside you right now. The journey is real, the process is valid, and you have everything you need to navigate it. You are not crazy. You are waking up.